What a messy month that was for Nintendo fans. What's up everyone, my name is Adrian and I post weekly Nintendo videos, and once a month I will do a Nintendo news recap for the month. And that's what we're going to be doing today, so if that's something that interests you, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's just go right into the news. I think the first thing we should probably talk about is all the games that released this month. And by all the games, I mean all the game. There was only one, and it was Mario vs. Donkey Kong. This game released on February 16th, and it was a remake of the original game that was on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. It wasn't a full price game, but I also still didn't pick it up anyways. It's just not something that necessarily interests me at the moment, at least. I'm probably going to pick it up eventually, it's just not a game I'm super duper excited for. But realistically, it's fine, right? Because the beginning of a year is typically kind of slow for Nintendo before the first Direct hits. Which leads us to our next segment, the new Rumours. For the vast majority of the month, we had been on Nintendo Direct watch, but not only any Direct, it was specifically a partner Direct. A lot of people on YouTube were saying that they were personally predicting that there was going to be a Direct on the first week of February, and a lot of people did go with that story as well. They mustered up that it was going to make sense. And I mean, it doesn't not make sense, but I was personally always on the train of week 2, which I was also wrong, so I'm not better than any of them anyways. After week 2 there, a lot of people did lose hope that we'd get anything really, but it did end up being pushed to the week after. Although there's technically no official reason to why it got pushed, the most likely of situations is that with that Xbox podcast that was happening, they only had a partner showcase. People are barely going to be tuning in anyways, so if there's anything more exciting, they'd probably go in to see what's happening there instead. It's to keep in mind that most people don't actually watch Directs, it's just people that are really involved and are the true core gamers of Nintendo. And then lo and behold, the Direct finally shows up, and damn, that was not good. I think a lot of people were already going in with pretty low expectations because it wasn't a general Direct anyways, and everybody was still under the assumption that, Nintendo was still going to be wrapping up Switch and is probably going to be a little dry until the second Switch or whatever the Switch successor is going to be. But even with those lowered expectations, it's still kind of disappointing, kind of having nothing to look forward to. And I should say, be specific here. There's nothing to look forward to in terms of big AAA games coming to Switch. The Switch will always be getting new games consistently all the way down until the Nintendo eShop shuts down, because indie developers are going to carry that thing to oblivion. But nonetheless, let's go over some of the games we saw during the Direct. In the order of the reveals, it was first Grounded, then Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist, Arranger, a role-puzzling adventure, Unicorn Overlord, Monster Hunter Stories, Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrushed, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, oof, big one, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, South Park Snow Day, Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream, Gundam Breaker 4, Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which is one of the only games that I kind of want to buy out of all of this, World of Goo 2, Fantasy Life The Girl Who Steals Time, which releases on October 10th, Another Crab's Treasure, and then Penny's Big Breakaway Shadow dropped. And side note, I used to yo-yo all the time. I don't think anybody appreciates the pun. Breakaway is an actual yo-yo throw. Penny's Big Breakaway. Anyway, Suika DLC, Pepper Grinder, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On, Snuffin' Melodies Moomin Valley. I wrote that on my notes, but I completely don't even remember what that is. Anyways, Tales of Kenzia Zao, Demon Slayer Kinetsu no Yaiba Sweep the Board, Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition, Contra Operation Gulga, Pentiment, and then there was a whole bunch of NSO games that released. They were all rare games, so those games include Snake Rattle and Roll, RC Pro Am, Battletoads in the Battle Maniacs, Killer Instinct, and Blast Corps. And if you're in Japan, they also got Mother 3. And to finish off the show, we had Endless Ocean Luminous that comes out on May 2nd, and I don't know if that was the best reveal to be like one more thing and end the show on, but that's what they went with. But even though the Direct was, a little lackluster for Nintendo fans, to which, to be fair, it's a partner showcase, it's not about Nintendo. it was alright because it was supposed to be that we were going to be getting a partner showcase in February and then a Switch 2 reveal in March. But some of you might know what ended up happening with that, and I'll talk about that once we get to the Switch 2 news roundup, but let's finish the general new rumors. So clearly, the partner direct was not giving us what we would have necessarily wanted throughout the year, and we still kind of have nothing much to look forward to. I mean, we have Princess Peach Showtime that's coming out in March, but like, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that yes, it's a new game by Nintendo. Yes, it's another big one. It's not going to be that great. Let's just be real with ourselves. And that's okay. Like, it's a game meant for a specific audience, an audience that is not necessarily me and probably a fair bit of people that are going to be watching this video as well. And I mean, other than that, the only thing we officially know about is the Luigi's Mansion 2 HD port that's coming to Switch, that is going to be full price, by the way, and the Thousand Year Door remake. I mean, although that remake is going to be really good, I think, and I can't wait for it, I mean, that game's not going to be able to pull in the fandom and keep us entertained for an entire year. Then the video game industry analyst Dr. Serkan Toto kind of said that, you know what, the company's probably going to be keeping a lot of their bigger games for the next console and not to expect many big things out of Nintendo this year, to which Bloomberg also kind of corroborated what he had said. But all hope is not lost yet. There's still one more game that is apparently going to be coming out finally this year, and that is Metroid Prime 4. The current rumor going around is that apparently the marketing campaign for Metroid Prime 4 is going to be starting in May. I mean, it does make sense that it's finally going to be coming out. I mean, they announced it in what, 2017? Like, that has been a very, very long time. I mean, they did have to restart, and that's kind of why it took so long. But I think it is time, and I have seen that apparently there were job postings for some QA testing at Retro Studio, which is most likely for Metroid Prime 4. My personal guess is the game's probably going to be coming out in October. I think it just makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like a spookier game. You want spooky games in October. Metroid Dread came out in October. I think it just makes sense, but I don't know. Who knows? We'll see in May, maybe. Ahaha, maybe. Anyways, and although this isn't technically a rumor, and we're in the rumor section, but there is going to be a Pokemon Presents that is happening in a few days. And I mean, they're obviously going to announce Pokemon games, and that is for better or for worse. But the current rumor is a lot of people are speculating that it's either going to be a Gold and Silver remake or a Black and White remake. Maybe in the styles of Legends Arceus? I don't think so. I think if it's going to be another Legends game, I think they would save that for the next console, personally, but I can see it being a new Let's Go game that would make more sense to me. And then somebody had noticed that at the bottom of the YouTube section, it can kind of show what game is played on screen, and it showed Pokemon Gold and Silver. People have pointed out that you have to put that in manually, except that's not true because some of my videos are tagged with games and I never tag them with games, so it can be done automatically. But either way, whether it be somebody actually deliberately putting that information manually, or if it's just kind of like AI detecting that those are the games, either way, it does look likely that Pokemon Gold and Silver are going to be in this Pokemon Presents. Whew, that section took a lot of time, but sorry, there was just a lot to talk about. So now let's just go on to Switch 2 news roundup. So there wasn't a lot of news about Switch 2, but the news that there was pretty freaking massive. First off, it is looking like this system is going to be backwards compatible, and not only backwards compatible, it might even enhance some of the older games. I'm still hesitant to believe this is true, but if it is, it's an absolute win for everyone. Even when consoles are backwards compatible, typically doesn't necessarily intrigue me that much because I already played the games before and I just want to play the new ones. But if they do enhance games, it makes me want to go back and try them again to see how they look and how they feel once they actually can hopefully work correctly. I'm looking at you, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It was also said that there was going to be a new custom chip for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is not surprising really, and is going to be made by Nvidia. And the biggest and probably most disappointing news is that apparently the Nintendo Switch 2 has been delayed internally. Although at first glance, this is really, devastating and sad news, I think it's not that bad. Allegedly, it's because the launch games are just not ready yet, and they just need some more polish most likely. And realistically, people are acting as though this system has been delayed for another, 10 years or something. I was personally only expecting this console to come out around the end of the year anyways, and it's supposed to be coming out in the early parts of 2025. So realistically, in my perspective, it just got delayed a couple of months. Yeah, the calendar will roll over to another year, but it's still not that bad realistically. And I'm not sure I'm quite ready to believe this next part here, but the newest rumor is that apparently in either May or April, there will be one final general Nintendo Direct, and then in June, we'll finally be able to see what this console is. I think at first glance my brain wants to tell me it doesn't make sense, because why would Nintendo announce all these games just to announce the new console the next month after and you kinda just forget about them? But at the same time, nobody is saying that it has to be a full-blown 40-minute direct with a crap ton of games announced. It can be kind of like maybe on the short side, maybe 25 to 30 minutes, and then the trailers are maybe longer, so there's not necessarily a lot of games in there, and they can just announce a few things that are going to be happening between, then and the end of the year, just, so people know things are coming. And for any game that is technically supposed to be coming out for the Switch 2 itself, save all those games and just kind of sprinkle and tease them in the showcase of the Switch 2 itself. And then come September, when there's typically another direct, you can talk about the games that are coming for the next system and that were teased in that hardware trailer. But I don't know, that's just me thinking out loud. I take that with a grain of salt. Now let's move on to some general Nintendo news. Let's start with some updated sales numbers. Not only has Super Mario RPG sold incredibly well in its time frame, it actually outsold the original's lifetime sales already at over 3 million copies sold. And over in Japan, the Switch has sold over 32 million units. Just for some context, the best ever selling console in Japan was the Nintendo DS at 32.99 million, so there's a good chance it does break that record. I don't know, just as a Nintendo fan, considering the disaster the Wii U was, you were in fact cheering for the correct team, it's just, it wasn't their time yet. And then globally, the Nintendo Switch has sold 139.6 million units. That is a lot of consoles. And thank God that they sold a lot of consoles, because the Nintendo president did say that the Switch was going to be their main business going into 2024. And regardless if the Switch 2 would have came out or not, I think the main business still would have been the Switch. But now that it has been delayed, it just adds an extra layer of truth to that statement. Other than that, there was a Zelda Orchestra that is now on YouTube. It's about 30 minutes long, and it has a lot of music from the whole series itself, not just one game in particular. We also got more details about Princess Peach Showtime, to which I kind of wish they didn't just show us all the costumes. So I do hope there's still a few more at least that they didn't show, but I do feel like this is probably it. I think the game looks pretty good for what it is, but it's like I said, I don't think this game is necessarily going to be winning Game of the Year either. I probably won't be checking it out day one, but I probably will have it eventually in my collection anyway, so it's not really worth complaining about on my end. And for the last bit of news, I'm going to make an announcement. I hate Japan. Nintendo is partnering up with McDonald's to make some new Happy Meal toys, but they're all going to be these stupid, freaking cute Kirby plushies. Why can't Japan share? I want these so freaking bad, it's not even funny. So if you guys have any ideas how I can put my hands on those things, please let me know down in the comments, because I want them. But yeah, that just about wraps up this month's news so far. So if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And let me know down in the comments how you feel about all of this. Until next time, Warao!